So we've been working on defences. Today we are going to work on making sure we're throwing our punches properly so that we don't get hit. So to start with, Ella's going to throw the jab. We're going to make sure that she is covering her chin with her shoulder when she's throwing that jab. So she'll throw the jab out here. When she throws that jab, I'm going to come back with the right pad onto her shoulder there. Good. If she doesn't rotate that shoulder over and protect her chin, she's got to get hit in the chin there. So make sure that rotation is happening, that shoulder's coming up, and your chin is being protected. Good. And again. Good. One more. Good. From there, we're just going to go into the cross. Same thing. There. And again. We'll switch around this side. You can't see what we're doing. And again. Good. And again. And if she doesn't rotate the shoulder around, bang, over the top. So again, rotate that shoulder, protect that chin. Good. So go through the round, making sure that the chin is being protected by the shoulder. Right, so we are currently working on making sure we're throwing our shots properly and protecting ourselves at the same time. We previously worked on protecting our chin with the shoulder. We're now going to make sure we're bringing the hand back in a straight line back to the chin. So Ella's going to throw a jab. When she brings her hand back, I'm going to throw the right pad to make sure the hand is protecting the face. And again. Good. And again. One more. What you don't want to do is this. You want to give her time to get the hand back into position. We're just making sure they've got the right technique. If she doesn't bring her hand back to her chin and she brings it down, that some people do actually do, we want to whack her in the face. And again, whack her in the face. Make sure that hand is coming back to that chin. Good. One more. And then the same thing with the cross. We'll move around here. Can't see what we're doing. Cross, back, back. One more. And again, if she doesn't bring the hand back and she drops it, she's going to get smacked in the face. So one more. And bring it back. There. Good. So just making sure they're bringing those hands back in a straight line, back to their face. It's 1, 2, it's not 1, 2, 3, yeah? Because a lot of people, when they're beginning, will drop their hands low. So if they do drop their hand, give them a little tap, make sure they know, and then eventually they're going to just become second nature muscle memory. Right, so we have been working on making sure we're throwing the correct punches in the correct way, that we're still protecting ourselves at the same time. What we're going to work on today is making sure those elbows are tucked in after we've thrown the straight shots. So Ella is going to throw the jab. I'm going to throw the pad back to her elbow there, making sure she brings that elbow and tucks it in. Good. And again. Good. One more. Good. Some people flare their elbows out, so they'll be there, and when they bring their hand back, their elbow's still up there. If that happens, whack. They're getting done to the body. So make sure those elbows are nice and tucked in, nice straight lines, and bring them back in there. Once you're happy with that, you're comfortable with that, we're going to move on to the cross, and it'll be the same thing. And I've done it again. You can't see what we're doing. Bring the elbow back. One more. And the same as with the jab, if someone flares their elbow out, again, hit to the body there. So make sure that elbow's being tucked in. One more. So nice and simple, bring those jabs back, those crosses back in straight lines, making sure the elbows are tucked in, protecting your ribs. So, we are currently working on throwing our punches in the correct way with the correct technique that you're still defending your head and body. We're going to work on making sure the opposite hand is staying where it should be. So we'll start with the jab. Ella's going to throw the jab. There's 2 different ways you can do this. I like to use the right pad for her to jab to, and I'll throw the left pad here to make sure that our right hand's staying tight. And again, good, and again, one more. I've seen some people do it where they still use that to jab to, and then they flick this hand underneath. Good, one more. Do whatever feels comfortable for you. As long as they're keeping that hand up, as long as they're doing the right technique, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure it's comfortable. So just a couple more times. So you jab to the right, I'm going to throw the left there. Good. And again. One more. Good. And we'll switch round. Got it right that time. So we're the same thing with the cross. This time, obviously, I'm going to hold my left hand up. And I'm going to throw my right to make sure Ella is keeping her left hand up. And again, the other way you could do it is Ella can throw here and I can flick that underneath. Good. But as I say, I like to do it this way. So again, just making sure that rear hand's staying tight. Some people will throw their, lead hand, sorry. Some people throw their rear hand and their lead hand will drop and it's going to get hit there. And same with that jab. Some people will throw the jab. Should probably show it that way actually. So throw the jab, the rear hand drops, bam, and again, bam. And we'll come around this way. I'm getting dizzy going around in all these circles. Throw the rear hand, the lead hand drops, yeah? So it's just making sure that the opposite hand that isn't being thrown is staying in the correct place. Right, so we have been working on throwing our punches in the correct way with the correct technique that we're still protecting our body, our head. So today we're going to work on making sure that the opposite elbow stays nice and tight. So Ella is going to throw the jab. How I like to do it is I will use my right pad for this. Usually when jabbing I'll use my left, but for this drill I'm going to use my right. When she throws that jab, I'm going to bring the hand down there. Good, and just come around this side so you can see where the elbow is. There. And what another way of doing that is, some people will still use their left hand and they'll just flick that one around there. I find it a bit uncomfortable, but if you prefer doing it that way, do it that way. So a couple more times, bam, keep that elbow tucked in. Some people will jab and they'll flare their elbow or they'll bring their right hand up. When that happens, bang, you're just coming under to the body. So it's just making sure that elbow's staying nice and tight and you're not getting caught to the body. So bring that elbow in, there. Good. Same thing with the cross. So we'll come back around this side. Again, I will use my left for this, whereas usually I would use my right, so that I can come here, make sure that elbow's tucked. And again, some people like to still hold the same pad, but flick that round. Good. So if Ella doesn't keep her elbow tight, some people will throw that right hand and they'll flare their left or they'll bring their left up too high. If she comes here and that's open there, she's going to get caught to the body. Bam. So you're making sure that elbow is tucked nice and tight, protecting those ribs. Bam. Good. So that's just making sure when you're throwing those straight shots, your opposite elbow is staying nice and tight. When the jab's coming out, the right elbow's tucked in. When the right's coming out, the left elbow's staying tucked in. So we've been working on throwing our punches in the correct way, with the correct technique, that we're still protecting ourselves from any counter shot that might come back. We've gone through shoulder covers, bringing the hand back, making sure the elbows are tucked in, all of that stuff. For this round, I'm going to throw anything back just to make sure that Ella is keeping everything correct and technical. So, jab, jab, good, jab, cross, 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 and again, cross, cross, jab, 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 cross, 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 jab, cross, jab, 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 cross, cross, cross. Good. So mix it up, go through the round. You don't have to go as crazy and intense as we were doing then. But just making sure that everything is nice and clean and technical and protected.